and women are using resistance training in order to evoke hypertrophy, growth of muscles, for aesthetic reasons and for all sorts of reasons. What are the ways that people can induce hypertrophy?
So not to correct you or insult you, but probably a better way to think about that question is really, what stimuli do I need to give the muscle to induce hypertrophy? Now, there are hormonal factors that are important, there are nutritional factors, but just to stick with the context of training, this is really going to frame a lot of our answers. And as you'll see, it's one of the reasons why I call hypertrophy training kind of idiot-proof in terms of program. Now, the work is hard, difficult, and all that, but the precision needed is a lot less than what we saw in power and strength. And so if you note there, like, it's very important that you do it in this style, with this intent, and with these, within these parameters. And if you're outside these parameters, it's not going to be it. Hypertrophy has a very broad range in terms of your actual applications. And this is why you have and will continue to see countless styles of training that all work. I mean, I know you were mentored earlier in life by one of my favorite people in this entire field, Mike Mentzer, like just an absolute character. His style was completely different than what you would see in a classic textbook, or any number of different influencers or coaches or individuals. And if you've ever thought to yourself, like, why is it all these programs work? And people love to jump to things like, well, it's the steroids. Like, just get that out of the equation for now. Independent of that, right? That's not even part of the equation. You're still going to see results. And the question is, like, why? Well, that's because what's driving changes in strength and power are the adaptations of specificity. What's driving changes in hypertrophy is much more well-rounded. And so you have options to get there. Remember, you're training a movement, and now you're training a response in a muscle that causes growth. That's very, very different. So if we look at like the classic dogma, we have to basically challenge the muscle to need to come back, in this case, specifically bigger, and the nutrients need to be there to support that growth. Okay, the nutrients aside, perhaps we can come in a few more minutes and talk about that. So all we really have to do is, going back to our dogma of activation of something on the cell wall. We talked about this earlier. That's got to induce that signaling cascade. That's got to be strong enough to cause the nucleus to react to it, to go to the ribosomes, to initiate this entire cascade of protein synthesis. Okay, so that signal has to be one of a couple of things. Either it has to be strong enough one time, it has to be frequent enough, or it has to be a combination of these things. All right, so I can get there with a lot of frequency and a moderate signal. I can get there with very low frequency and a large signal, like more akin to what you did with Mike back in the day, I'm sure.
And still train that way.
Still train
each
that way.
muscle group mainly once a week directly and once a week indirectly.
So all you have to do there to not fail is to make sure the training is hard enough, and it's going to work. If you choose the frequency path, then you actually have to make sure you're not training too hard to where you can't actually maintain the frequency. The only wrong combination here is infrequent and low intensity and low volume. That's it. As long as one of those three variables is high, you're going to get there.